Welcome, citizen, to another Starcraft Nation broadcast. I'm your host, Whitera, and in today's cast, we are going to be watching Tarson as the Red Terran going up against Whitera, or as he is playing Duckload Raw lately. That is his sponsor, so of course they have given him that account with that name, as that is where he's getting a lot of his monies, I would suspect. Either way, though, we're going to see a pretty epic matchup series here. This is going to be coming for the Go4SC2 series, and I'm not sure where this is in the whole brackets level, but I saw this matchup here. It is a best of 3. Is there actually going to be? They will be going to Game 3 here, and it is pretty. It's gotten a lot of traffic so far. So I saw this, had a little time before I had to go to work, and figured, hey, might as well squeeze a couple out today and see if y'all like what this is or what we got going on here. Now, just to be going over it, we are on Metalopolis here. And the spawning points here aren't the most epic spawning points, as I would go ahead and say that the most epic spawning points, of course, are going to be the farthest spawning points. As you will see, generally speaking, you will see much higher macro intensity games versus the matchups like right here. You have a lot, it's generally shorter. It's not saying that it has to be that way, but as a rule of thumb, you generally see shorter games like this, just for the kind of the meta game or the psychology of it. When you know that your enemy is that far away, you kind of, you don't really care as much. You're not as worried about him being on your doorstep and going to be jumping down your throat immediately. But focusing on the game at hand here, we're seeing pretty standard openers. We're not seeing Tarson grab extra gas super early. We're not seeing any sort of proxies going down, though. We do see this pylon here, and this is a pretty pivotal pylon placement, as we will most likely be seeing Duckload Raw grabbing a cybernetics core here pretty soon and chrono boosting out the warp gate technology, as that warp gate technology is a keystone of most Protoss players' strategies, as it does allow you to reinforce on the go, and this placement allows you to reinforce down here on this lower ground without having to, spawn here and go all the way around. You know how that goes. So you want to have the rapid deployment. Now, we do have this one Marine sitting up here on top of the ramp, and he's definitely about to deny this probe. That probe luckily getting away. We're actually seeing even a little bit of persecution by this Marine. Of course, now this probe will be able to get away from this Marine, as it is faster than the Marine, and of course it does not have stem at this point. Now, we do see Tarson grabbing the second best beam geyser here, and he is going to be grabbing that. So yeah, apparently there was a pause right there, as Tarson had a little bit of lag or something of that nature. But the factory will be going down for him nonetheless. We will see a, just random supply depot placements. We're not seeing him block off the wall, as against Protoss it's not nearly as effective and not nearly as necessary, because the Protoss, of course, will have those stalkers which will be able to pick off the leading buildings up here, unless they are bunkers, and it's pretty rare to see the wall as complete bunkers here. You generally see, a supply depot, a barracks, maybe a factory, probably another supply depot. Either way, Tarson's men are lining up here to get a nice little blockade of that ramp, making sure no one comes up there. Of course, we do have this probe occupying this Elnaga Tower, trying to give Whitera a better vantage point of what exactly is going on. Of course, we do have Whitera has claimed this Vespine geyser right there. We do have actually we only have one gateway coming down here and a robo, so it looks like we're doing a 2-gate robo right now. Don't see anything coming out of the robo just quite yet. We do have a stalker moving out here. It will see the Hellion, but it will not actually react to the Hellion until it's going to be too late. The Sentry, of course, can force field if he wants to, and yes, we do see the force field coming down by this Sentry. The Hellion wisely backing off. Now, this Hellion was way faster than the Stalker ever wanted to dream about being, and this force field is about to dissipate, and yes, it does dissipate right there. Great timing. Of course, the Hellion is not actually going to be able to make it up there, because there were 2 Sentries, and they were able to DPS it down. Now, the first thing coming out of that robotics facility is actually the Observer. Observers are a crucial battlefield awareness tool that a Protoss player needs to be using, as of course this level of play we do see them quite often, but unfortunately as you go down, it doesn't take much to see where people start neglecting their observers and neglecting any sort of scouting. With Tarson seeing this Observer is going to try to grab it, as we will probably see a scan coming down, and yes, we do see a scan, and the Observer does go down. So Tarson, not having any of that shenanigans, will be killing that one, of course forcing Whitera to build another Observer. Now, this Observer is going to be crucial in combating the Banshee potential cloak. Now, we don't have cloak for the Banshee just quite yet, but this Banshee is going to be a menace right here, as we actually do see 2 Stalkers moving up here, and so Tarson wisely backing it out there. Will it make it? Yes, it will, as they only get 1 more pot shot off, so it will be coming in for repairs. We do see a Raven coming in there as well, giving the permanent cloak, making sure that Tarson doesn't have to waste a scan on a silly observer, and enabling him to use it for mules, as mules do a great economic stem, as I believe it's a total of 300 minerals that they are able to mine during their lifespan. That, of course, making a huge difference, especially early on in the game. And if you don't expand appropriately, you can go ahead and get yourself back in the game, as we see many Terran players will suffer great losses of SCVs or something like of that nature, and they will just start dropping mules, because at that point you're really not you're not focusing on it, and you'll have a buildup of energy at your orbital command. So either way, right now we have 1 observer poking around over there. We have a 2nd observer over here, just trying to make sure, keeping an eye on what Tarson's doing, making sure that Tarson doesn't get anything out there that Whitera is not aware of. Of course, Whitera does have his natural taken. He's a few harvesters ahead, nothing spectacular. As let's go back to the production tab. We will have Siege Tech finishing up here momentarily for Tarson, and it looks like we might be seeing a push here relatively soon. And if not a push, he will be going ahead and dropping his orbital command center down here onto the natural and solidifying his position there with maybe a few bunkers. Not really sure. I am not quite Psychic, and I actually have not seen the entirety of this map so far. So we will see another rat going down by Tarson. And right now, I mean, Tarson, even though he's just now claiming the natural, he's not going to be that far behind. Like I said, he is, well, he wasn't that far behind as far as harvester count goes, but now he is a full 10 harvesters behind. But of course, he will be able to make it up with those mules, as we didn't really see that much of a difference income-wise overall. Now, we only have 1 Banshee in the air for Tarson right now. We do see a very heavy Marine build right here. We do have the tanks supporting as well, and these tanks are going to be crucial in taking out the Colossus, because this Colossus is going to absolutely murder these Marines, especially when it gets the extended thermal lance upgrade. That is going to be huge. And of course, this Raven will also be a huge factor in basically nullifying the usefulness of these Stalkers, because these Stalkers, ooh, this observer is really close to being sniped right there. The Stalkers' attacks are going to be blocked by the point defense drones that our lovely Ravens have. Now, the Raven will only be able to drop 1, but that 1 will actually make quite a bit of difference. Now, Whitera is in an odd position, because he will actually be finishing up the thermal lance here relatively soon. But we do actually have a Banshee coming from behind, will be attacking and making some sort of economic impact here, as he's forced to evacuate the entirety of his main. We do see the forces of Tarson moving back here, as we do have the Colossus trying to get in here. We do see the splitting of the forces as well. We do see 1 defense drone up doing what it can, but there are just not enough forces from Tarson, as those tanks did get sniped right there, and we do see these Marines stemming and that 1 Marauder running away, and that, of course, that poor Raven is not fast enough to get away from those forces. So Tarson right now had his army pretty decimated, though. If we look at the losses tab, is relatively neck and neck, and we do have a little battle going on back here, but of course that Banshee was going to lose that battle there, as we saw her fall to pieces. But of course, she did a pretty big economic dent due to the fact that Whitera was not able to occupy an entire mineral line for an extended period of time, and though she might not have been able to actually kill that much, her mere presence alone was enough to make an impact. Now, right now, we do have the thermal lance really paying off right here, as the supply depot is getting pounded right there by that Colossus. Of course, the supply depot will end up surviving, as against individual units, the Colossus really aren't super effective. It's against those clumps of units, allowing to rake those forces like we do see right there, just putting a, not necessarily AoE, but I don't know how you call it, of line effect. But we do actually have another battle coming here for the naturals. We do see SCVs getting into the fray. This tank is in big danger right here, and we don't actually see the Stalkers focus firing it down, as they are within inside the range of its fire, but we do actually see it go down there. We see all the forces being burned to a cinder right there. We do have this 1 tank right here. This 1 tank is going to make a huge difference. We will see it actually take out this Colossus if the Colossus is not careful. We do have these 2 Marines showing up here. I would like to see a lift or something like that, because Tarson is, although he is on the back pedal, he does have another expansion going down right there. Didn't have to really lose that many of his SCVs, and we will see the tank repositioning itself, preparing for an attack. Oh, we do actually see the Marauders stimming and trying to snipe this Colossus. Will they get it? Yes, they will. But of course, we are going to see quite a few of these Marauders go down themselves. Actually, we see both of those Colossus going down. So Whitera losing both of those very, very expensive units. Meanwhile, we do have reinforcements coming from his main base. This Colossus giving them vision of that tank right there, able to snipe that tank, and Tarson's in a really bad position here as he is going and throwing down mules on his main mineral line, trying to heal this Marauder, as we do see this Marauder is actually taking damage, but is just not super effective, like I pointed out, because there is only one of them. Now, right now, we do see the Tech Lab being focused right here, and we see an entire SCV charge going against Whitera. This is a desperation attack, trying to peel the Whitera off of the base here. I don't think it's going to be enough, as we do see the Colossus go down there, but there are so many Stalkers left in the main that these Marauders are not going to be enough, and I do believe that that is the end of the line for Tarson, and yes, we do see him GG out of the game. So Whitera able to best Tarson. Overall, using the Colossi to great effect, and not allowing Tarson to really recoup from that original push, as Whitera was able just to overwhelm and get a nice concave basically in his favor. He was able to apply more DPS than Tarson was. Tarson was forced to split up his units and try to maneuver out of it. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. There will be 2 more of these coming, and hopefully I will get them all done before work starts. So thank you so much once again for joining me, and as always, citizens, stay safe.